Wells Fargo building change on the horizon, Leif Erikson hosting a camp for kids with disabilities, how to apply for free and reduced school lunches, and of course, some newspapers coming back to our area. This is Inside the Newsroom. We bring you the trending stories of the KELOLAND area, and best part of all, we bring in our reporters to talk about these stories that they've created, so you get a unique perspective into the passions and the storytelling ideas that come out on the stories you see every day on our newscasts and online at KELOLAND.com. To start off first, we're coming in with an update to a story that we've been following for a couple of weeks now. Almost 2 weeks ago, in fact, the Brookings Register, the Huron Daily Plainsman, Redfield Press, and Moody County Enterprise shut down abruptly after their parent company had ceased operations. But turns out they'll be back in business soon. And Jordan DeSmet explains.
This was the headline for the Redfield Press on Friday. We are back.
It's a little overwhelming, to be honest with you. It happened rather quickly, but we all are very excited.
General Manager Kayla Jessen says the paper's next issue will be printed and available as soon as Wednesday or Thursday.
We're really thankful for the opportunity to be back and serving our community again because, everyone was kind of in an upheaval for a week and a half there, not knowing what they were going to do. It's a big deal not to have a local newspaper to publish those important events in the community.
Another newspaper that will be publishing again this week is the Moody County Enterprise. One local that I caught up with says the information they put out is important for the community.
It's our connection with some of the other people we don't see day in and day out. And for me, it's connection with the school. I have 2 great grandchildren that go to school there, and it keeps me abreast of what they're doing and what's going on.
Editor Carlene Wild says the Enterprise's next edition will be on newsstands on Thursday and delivered on Friday.
This is a 150-year-old publication, and so it's great to see that continue.
Wild hopes the paper's brief closure can spark more support of local news.
Maybe a silver lining to come out of all of this is for people to really realize that this is a valuable resource. How can they better support it?
Support that will keep people more informed.
And Jordan DeSmet joins us now at the digital desk to talk more about this story. Jordan, we've been following this for the past 2 weeks, too, and it was a sudden closure, as people have explained, and now almost a sudden reopening. When you've talked to people in this story specifically about, the publications coming back soon, how have they been reacting to this timeline of events?
They've been really happy. I think they've really stressed the importance of that local news because, us at Kela, we can't cover every little thing in every local community. And that's where these local newspapers really come in. And, they cover the local sporting events. They tell you about events coming up. They tell you about what's going on in the local high school. And it's really important for people to have that and to keep themselves informed. And I think maybe they didn't realize that until they saw that they abruptly closed.
There's impact. And you did speak to a Flandreau resident in this story who reads the paper and talked about how he gets it for school events and related news. But why did you include this reader in the story when we were focusing on the publications?
Right. I think it was important to make sure that we got that reaction, right? That was a man on the street. That's what we call that. And this is someone who's directly impacted by the sudden closure, right? It's important to get their side of the story. And this is it was a real person that was impacted by these newspapers slowly closing. And now he has his newspaper back. And actually, I was the one who told him that it was back. He didn't realize that when I talked to him. So
really?
I'm like, yeah, no, the Moody County Enterprise is back. He's like, really? Yeah, it's really good news. So he was really happy about that.
Was that recorded?
I did record it. I did not. I just didn't find a way to fit it into the in there. But yeah, he was pretty happy when I told him.
I can't imagine that, that kind of reaction for it. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people have been feeling about it. It's like, great, I'm glad something like this is back. And, on our website, we have a way for people, if they want to learn more about the publications and the updates with any 4 of those newspapers, they can do so. Can you explain that a little bit while I scroll through the website right here?
Yeah, absolutely. So each of those newspapers, essentially what they did was they put a free e-edition out there that explained, hey, we're back, and here's what you can expect. And right there, you kind of see the links right there. You can click on that. They're free. You can read their articles online explaining. Right there, you see the headline, MC Enterprise reopens under new ownership. They kind of go through Yes, we were closed for a little bit, but we're back, and here's what you can expect from us in the near future.
That's pretty easy to do right on our website right there. You can find those links. And Jordan, is there anything else that you'd like to share about putting this story together, or now that it's released, what you want viewers to really take away?
I think just taking away that, journalism is important. It doesn't matter what level of it, whether it's right here at KELO doing TV stuff, whether it's local newspaper, whether it's local radio, journalism is important. And I think this, just with the kind of upheaval that some of this caused, I think it really proved that. And it's important for people to stay informed.
Jordan, thank you so much for giving me all those details right here at the digital desk. And viewers, stick around, because up next, we're going to get into the back to school headspace. And with that comes making sure that your bellies are full for your students as they go out and learn. We're going to learn more about free and reduced school lunches in the Sioux Falls School District when we come back on Inside the Newsroom. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. While school starts this week for many students in the Sioux Falls area, steps are being taken to make sure that every child has the proper nutrition that they need to be successful during their classes. Summer Roddershot explains.
While the school grounds are empty now, soon they'll be hustling and bustling with students. But even though the students aren't back yet, the crew at the Sioux Falls School District Child Nutrition Services are back in full swing.
For the Child Nutrition Department, we had all 200 of us in a meeting all day Friday talking about what's happening this year, and it was neat to see the energy of staff coming back, talking to each other, old friends, and getting all excited about, hey, we're ready to roll again.
Child Nutrition Services staff know that to help students learn at their best, they need to have full bellies.
We know that there's incidents where there's higher rates of not feeling well, maybe behavior issues. That's some common things I've heard over the years being in this role.
Which is why the Sioux Falls School District does what it can to feed all of its students. This is where the free and reduced meal programs come into play.
We operate under USDA guidelines like everybody else, but we do offer to our families who have applied and qualified for reduced meals. We are able to cover the cost of those reduced meals for those families.
4 schools in the district offer free breakfast and lunch for all their students.
We have 4 locations that we call our community eligibility provisions, also known as CEP. And those schools, they have actually qualified for free meals for all students based on the number of what we call directly certified families. And that is families that have qualified through SNAP benefits.
And Summer Roddershot joins us now at the digital desk to talk more about this story, because Summer, it's pretty important to make sure that a child is ready to learn while they're in school and making sure that their bellies are full to do so. So how can people apply for free or reduced school lunches?
Yeah, so it's super easy, honestly. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can do it in person when you're going to your kids' open houses this week, but then also just it's online. So we even tagged it underneath this story on KELOLAND.com. And, you go click and it lays it out super easy, the different steps, what you need to fill out. I think it's easier to do it online because it'll flag for you, if you don't fill out a certain area. Whereas if you're doing it on paper and if you forget something, it's harder to fix that and to be wait, come back, you didn't fill out this part of it. So yeah, it's super easy to do it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accessible with that online access and the forms to just fill it out that way. And, as you were talking about child nutrition with this board and this person that you interviewed, what was something that stood out to you during the interview?
Well, one thing, that they've learned, and I think we can, even as adults, when you're hungry, you're not focused on whatever you're doing. I'm a little bit hungry right now, and I'm I think I need to have a snack before I do anything else, just because I can't focus. And so if me, a self-controlling adult, can't focus when they're hungry, imagine these kids who, they're young, they just want to have fun. They're hungry. Mm-hmm. You can't focus. And even I was talking to Gay Anderson, and she said that principals and teachers, they say that a hungry child isn't one that's ready to learn. And not only are you not able to learn, but then you also see behavioral issues, when they're acting out because that hunger is gnawing at them. Mm-hmm. So it's so important that if you're going to have kids in school, that keeping them fed for both socially and learning reasons.
Is that what you wanted viewers to take away from the story, or was there anything else that you were hoping viewers would understand with your story?
I think growing up as I did, I didn't realize how big of an issue this was. I never realized that there were families out there that couldn't necessarily afford lunches for their children. And that means that A, I'm blessed, but B, it's also, okay, what can we do to raise more awareness around this? Which is why, they have this program. And Gay was talking about how they are able to cover some of those reduced lunches because of private donors.
Wow.
And, that's why I believe it was just yesterday and maybe even again this upcoming week, but, my co-anchor and other anchors and reporters are doing stories with like Hungry Hearts, where they raise money to help, get children, like help them pay for their school lunches just because of the importance of it. So it's, to raise awareness, but then also like there's stuff you can do, but then also, people haven't been filling out the applications yet this year. I feel like school is sneaking up a little bit on us.
Yeah, it's I got to remember to do this part
seriously.
now. Yeah, and especially for Sioux Falls starting this Thursday, I believe. Like, everybody's back to school.
Really
Get in your head.
Quickly. And Gay Anderson was telling me that like last year they had 11,000 students that had qualified for the free and reduced meals. This year so far, they've only seen, as of yesterday morning, they've only seen 3,400 applications. So, that's not even close. That's like, I can't do my math right now, apparently. But, like...
It's a bracket, it's definitely smaller right now. But if that's just the number before school starts, we'll see how that may change while the season starts or the academic session starts.
Yeah.
But is there any other details that you would like viewers to know about creating the story or your interview with Gay Anderson, Summer?
Yeah, so there actually are, and we'd reference it, I don't believe I said it in the package, but there are 4 different schools in the Sioux Falls School District that do receive free lunches and breakfasts. I have them written down here because I'm not from Sioux Falls, so I need to remember it. But it's Hawthorne Elementary, Horace Mann Elementary, Axel Middle School, and then the early childhood program at the Learning Lab. But because of where all of those schools are and the people that live in those areas, it has something to do with the SNAP benefits. So all the children at those schools will receive free breakfast and lunch. So helping out those people in those areas where, a lot of them are going to already be qualifying. So all the students at those schools should be good to go. But if you have students at other schools, you're still going to want to fill out your free and reduced applications.
Great. And then Summer, what story are you working on tonight?
Yes. Okay. So it's a really pretty story.
There's props?
There is props. Look at this. Isn't it so fun?
Pretty.
So there is a U-Pick flower farm out over in Brandon. And, they snipped some flowers so that we could see them. And if I didn't take them, they were going to die. So I'm like, I'll take them. I'm not going to let these beautiful flowers just go to waste. But yeah, sort of just talking about the U-Pick event. It's a young husband and wife, and this is the second year that they've been doing this. So, I was with them last year, and so we're seeing a little bit, how it's grown, and it's almost doubled in size, but then also just how all the storms have affected them. Because I know you talk to Scott a lot, but Scott will tell you that this August has been one of the worst ones for storms. Usually we don't see this type of weather this late into the season.
Yep.
So sort of talking to them, because, if it happens in June, they can just replant the flowers. When it comes to flower picking time, it's sort of hard to replant the flowers at that point. So
sounds like an interesting story. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming here, Summer. Yes. And remember, viewers, you can look up the free and reduced school lunch application. If you just find this story online at KELOLAND.com, just scan that QR code that you see on your screen. And still to come on Inside the Newsroom, we're not done talking about back to school sessions, but let's go back and remember summer a little bit. How about we go to Leif Erikson? And how about we look at a new camp that just joined those grounds? Stay with us. We're going to have more coming up next on Inside the Newsroom. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Summer is winding down, but camp season is not over yet. In fact, Kelly Vogt takes us to a new camp, which is helping kids enjoy nature.
Layton Lawrence and some of his fellow campers are enjoying soccer at the YMCA's Camp Leif Erikson in Sioux Falls.
What do you think of soccer?
It's great.
It's one of many activities at a 2-day event called Give Kids the Woods. But this isn't your typical camp. It's geared toward kids with disabilities. Sioux Falls Family YMCA CEO James Oppenheimer says it's the Y's first time hosting an adaptive camp.
And then we have a really high staff to camper ratio to make sure everyone is safe and well taken care of.
Take soccer, for example. Some of the soccer balls are larger for players in wheelchairs. Rattling soccer balls are available for players who are visually impaired. Meanwhile, this event on Leif Erikson's ropes course has been modified.
Our ropes course is shrunk down a little bit, so we've made sure that it's safe and something that a child of any ability would enjoy.
Just over 50 kids and teens are signed up for the camp.
We try to accept as many people as possible into our regular camp. And we do have kids with different abilities that come into our regular camp. But to have a camp that is catered to a population that would struggle with our regular camp, we think is really important in including more of the Sioux Falls community at Camp Leif Erikson.
Because it's got a lot of fun stuff.
And Kelly Vogt joins us right now at the digital desk to talk more about this story. Kelly, I'm glad you did this because it feels like summer will never end now, even though kids are going back to school. And I have to ask, were the campers excited to see all the cameras around when you showed up?
Well, they didn't say much about the cameras. I think they were pretty focused on having fun at camp.
On their own activities. It looked so fun out there. Like everyone was really enjoying the soccer and the ropes. That part is like so cool to me. When you first arrived at Leif Erikson, what stood out to you?
Just looked like another day at camp. Kids, as you mentioned, were playing soccer. Some were just hanging out under the big top. The counselors were out having fun with the kids. So it was really just another day at camp.
I like how you mentioned that because when we're talking about something with accommodations, you may think like, oh, it's supposed to be different. But this experience really doesn't change anything for the campers, right?
Right. They're doing a lot of things that you would do at a regular camp. They're also doing crafts like tie-dye. They're going boating. So they're getting that traditional experience. It's just catered more towards their needs and making it maybe a little easier for them.
Right. Because as you talked to the YMCA CEO, James Oppenheimer, what stood out to me was that he mentioned that, of course, all campers are welcome to any camp at Leif Erikson, but this new camp is just something to help a different population of Sioux Falls. And so do you know, or did he mention at all if this camp would continue in the future?
Well, I didn't ask him that specifically, but he did say, this is the first year we're doing this. We're figuring out how it all works. He said maybe in the future this could expand or, maybe it could look a little different. That's not quite known just yet. But from what I can tell, the kids and the staff are really enjoying the first year of this.
It seemed like a hit. And with viewers watching this story, what do you hope that they take away?
That, this is just a place where kids can have fun in the summer. Every kid wants to have fun, and camps are very popular. And this is making it so that more kids can enjoy that summer camp experience.
And then is there anything else that you would like our viewers to know about you creating this story or anything about the camp?
Well, the thing that's really cool about this camp is it was free to the kids. Donors and partners of the YMCA helped make that happen. So these families don't have to pay anything for their kids to enjoy camp.
What a fun time. And then what story are you working on for tonight on KELOLAND News?
Well, switching from camp to school, kids are getting ready for the classroom. So today there's a back to school bash at Terry Redland Elementary in Sioux Falls. There will be free backpacks, haircuts, and some other fun stuff planned. So we're going to go check in with some families getting ready for the school year.
Back to school is already here. So crazy to think about. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me here at the Digital Desk. And viewers, stick around. Before we wrap up the show, we're going to talk about a Wells Fargo building that has change just around the horizon. Stay with us. We'll have more on Inside the Newsroom after the break. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. A banking company with a still significant presence in Sioux Falls has left its downtown location and change is on the horizon. That's a headline for Ray Yost's story about this Wells Fargo building that sits right there in downtown. Ray, what is the general excitement that's surrounding the possibilities of this building?
Yeah, I think there's general excitement or general interest. I mean, no real details are known yet, but because it's such a high-profile building, it takes up almost that whole block there, or at least a good portion of it. So I think people are generally interested and potentially excited about what will take place there. I mean, one tenant is moving out, so what will be the changes? And as you can see, it's a big presence there on that area near 9th and Phillips.
Yeah, and nothing concrete was shared yet, but we may have an announcement around September or October.
Yeah.
And even though there's no concrete plan now, what were some ideas that were shared with you or that you uncovered?
Well, the idea with David Shelton from Century 21 Advantage, a broker with this, was that it's not going to be a single user. It will be multiple tenants, and I think they've talked to some engineers, some accountants, possibly some folks in the banking industry. So, there's a lot of possibilities there. Talked about the need for maybe still parking, but state of the art, possibly some residences. So the best way I could describe it is mixed use.
Mixed use. And a portion of your article focused on the idea of potentially having a daycare in that area. And that part is stuck out to me because it does take up a big portion. So why did you focus on this aspect?
Well, I didn't really intentionally focus on that aspect as much as it emerged as, say, in a daycare. And I think one of the things that maybe sets it apart from perhaps other projects in the downtown where we've seen restaurants open or other types of businesses is that daycare piece, because of their idea of saying, okay, we're open to doing a daycare. We might be interested in a daycare because of people who live and work in downtown Sioux Falls. You may not work in downtown Sioux Falls, but if you live there, a daycare would be attractive. And if you work in downtown Sioux Falls, a daycare would also be attractive. And that's what the downtown Sioux Falls official had said too. The daycare is maybe an unusual piece in some of the proposed developments downtown. We've had hotels, we've had restaurants, we've had other types of businesses. This is kind of the first that's maybe emerged as the daycare possibility.
Excellent. And Ray, is there anything else that you'd like to share about creating the story or details you think our viewers should know?
Well, in the story, you'll find that they talk about how large this facility is, or this building or this block. If you look one way down 9th, it's a long extension of offices and other things. You go a little bit more down Phillips, and you're going to see the parking area. So it's really that whole block plus about 6 stories up.
Yeah,
so it's a big building,
huge.
big area.
Very huge. And what are you working on for tonight?
Well, Black Hills Corporation and Northwestern Energy have announced a merger, and they're going to have a few more details about that in a planned news conference at 11:30. So it's a pretty significant merger, and it looks like the headquarters are going to stay in Rapid City, but we'll see.
And we'll catch that tonight with you, Ray. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Digital Desk. And thank you all for watching Inside the Newsroom. That's all the time that we have today. Lots of trending stories to get to today and even more tomorrow. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock tomorrow only here on KELOLAND Plus. And until then, have a great day, everyone.